efforts are being made to reduce an estimated 13.2 million out-of-school children in Nigeria. Most of them are in the northern part of the country, where the impact of Boko Haram attacks on educational institutions still lingers. In Kaduna State alone, there are not less than 700,000 children who aren't enrolled in school. Now, the state government has started a program aimed at integrating such children into formal basic education. At a summit attended by stakeholders, strategies to achieve education for all children in the state, especially for those in rural areas, were discussed. Channels Television's correspondent Chimeze Nyocha compiled the report.
From age 6 to 12, a child should ideally be receiving education, as it plays a crucial role in the child's mental abilities. Other aspects of child development, such as the expected physical and emotional abilities, depend largely on the environment they grow in. For as many as 13.2 million out-of-school children in Nigeria, most of whom are in the northeast roaming the streets, the concern is what their future would look like without formal education. In a move to provide basic education for at least 700,000 out-of-school children in Kaduna, the state government is driving an integration program targeting those at the grassroots. Part of approaches being adopted include engaging with local government chairmen, education secretaries, and other individuals and groups with considerable influence in communities at this policy retreat. The goal is to examine the prospects and the challenges.
Central to this discussion is to underpin the critical role of primary education as foundation of learning. If education at primary school level is not gotten right, it is obvious that education at secondary and tertiary level will not also be right.
The Executive Secretary of the Universal Basic Education highlights the need for leaders in the Northeast region to pay more attention to getting children enrolled in primary education, bearing in mind the link between education, poverty, and insecurity.
For God's sake, let's refocus these children, let's refocus their attention on ensuring that, on education, on going to school and other aspects. Otherwise, again, we will have a big crisis in our hands. And the point I want to raise is that if we don't take care of that sector, we would have no refuge, nowhere to go.
Delivering the standard of education.
According to the Kaduna State Government, these concerns are the driving force for ongoing reforms in the education sector.
Aware that this government has been implementing reforms in the education sector since 2015. Expanding access to quality education is one of the manifesto commitments we made in the 2015 restoration program. This is anchored on the conviction that a modern progressive society must offer all its citizens equality of opportunity to attain the skills and knowledge that can enable them to make the most of their lives.
Others present at the meeting share their thoughts about the way forward to ensure education for children in the state.
The plan is looking at the number that we have, that's over 700,000 children out of school. We felt that having met with all stakeholders in the education sector, the ministry and SUBEC believe that we can be able to return back 145,000 in the first year of implementation of this scheme.
You find that most of the schools have a large list of teachers, but some of them don't go to the schools, so we have to keep on checking them, surprise visit to the schools. These are things that we are doing a little bit different, that is getting us the results that we are getting now.
Stakeholders here are reminded to work together to drive enrollment of school-age children into primary education, which is the foundation for sound education, in order to reduce the number of out-of-school children and ultimately realize a target of education for all by the year 2030.
All right, joining us to talk about expanding enrollment of school-age children into basic education in Nigeria's Northeast is Abiola Sanusi, an education advisor with Ripplington Education Initiative. She joins us from our studios in Abuja. Welcome to Africa 54. Now,
good morning.
One key way, one of the determining factors in improving enrollment is safety in schools, and that's one of the essence of the Safe School Declaration. Now, how much progress has been made so far with this policy?
Good morning once again. I'm very pleased to inform you that a few weeks ago the Federal Executive Council actually endorsed the Safe Schools Declaration, thereby paving the way for its ratification. So this means that Nigeria is beginning to fulfill its international commitment to actually safeguard education. And even though Nigeria endorsed as far back as May, it was May 2015. It's been a long process in terms of us getting approval from FEC. But that's not to say that there has not been progress. There's been progress in terms of the Safe Schools initiative. During that time, they've had over 2,400 students. They've actually moved them from the camps. They are now, they've gone to schools, federal unity schools.
Well, that's good to know. But what are some of the provisions that stand out for you in this Safe School Declaration? Is this something you think will be easy to implement?
It's going to be difficult. It's going to be challenging. But the thing is that we have been working on this for the past 4 years. I say difficult because you have to change the orientation of the people. We do have the military that are providing education in these spaces. But when you're talking about Borno, Adamawa, Yobe, and Northeast in general, it is education that is under attack. So you do need security forces that do need to protect those learning spaces. So we need to come to a common ground in terms of how do we ensure that they do protect without posing a legitimate target to the teachers, to the communities, and also to the students. And that is what the Safe Schools Declaration is trying to do. The Nigerian context is actually quite complex because the military play a very big role in terms of providing education. But one thing I would like to state is that, for us in the education group, we are working with the MOD. MOD, they are also part of us, and one of the things that we've actually done with them is that they have actually agreed not to carry guns when they are teaching in the classrooms, and that is a very big thing.
Okay, so
for us, that's a big achievement.
Speaking about expectations, how soon do you expect these policies to kick in and start yielding results?
The next phase now is for us to have a national policy. And we are also hoping that in the next few weeks, this will be achieved.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us today on Africa 54.